So, what if the John Jones from Young Justice actually did find a way to resurrect his people? Well, the story would go something like this. John was walking through the watchtower. He was very happy today because his niece, Megan, had just completed her doctorate degree. He was getting very tired, had a long day, and he had nothing left to do. His bed on Earth was very far away, so he found a place to sleep in the watchtower. But he didn't just have his typical dream. He saw his family burning again. It's a very vivid dream. But then he thought he was awake. He was talking to Superman. He looked away for a moment. And then when he looked back, Superman was different. It was no longer Superman. It was, in fact, a cybernetic being that you could hardly tell had any organic parts. Had a raspy voice. It said, "They do not have to die, John. You can save them. You'll find me there. Only I can give you the power. You need me." Suddenly his eyes opened. The dream was over. He knew he could no longer be part of the Justice League. He had to find this man. The reason he knew it was all true is because in that dream he was reaching out to that man. He read his mind completely, all his memories. He knew exactly where to go, exactly what to do. He traveled across the cosmos, landed on a very barren planet that was inhabited by a race of cyborgs. Finally found the person who was contacting him, had a small conversation, and was offered the one thing that he always wanted, a time machine so he could do his work. But he was warned, in order for him to succeed, Megan would have to die. At first, he wasn't so sure about that, but then he realized it was what he had to do. He thought about it. Did he have to warn Megan? Should he ask permission, perhaps? But he was told that would be impossible. If he did either of those things, that would make his actions be reversed, and it will be as if he never did anything. He knew what he had to do. The ends may not have justified the means, but he just had to do it. He took the time machine to Mars, traveled back to the birth of himself. He was a twin. His twin brother, Malefac, was a monster. But he couldn't kill Malefac in his mother's house. He had to wait until Malefac was brought to the hospital. There he waged war on the hospital. They thought it was Romnir because it was just this hulking, armored being walking in, beating the crap out of everyone. They attacked him with heat-based weapons, but it was to no avail. He would have none of it. With every blow, he knocked out every single one of them, using his mind to force their physiology to stay alive through all of it, so that he would not leave a single dead body. Eventually, they decided to stop fighting and try to leave. He couldn't let them take Malefac, so he had to work quickly. When he got there to the cradle where he lay, he also saw his past self, who was the only reason Malefac was still there. He reached into Malefac's cradle and just ripped his head off. That was the end of a monster, and the end of his niece. He had to leave immediately. He went back to find the time machine, but it was guarded. They didn't want him to leave. But he was the master. No one could defeat him on that planet. He didn't even have to fight the guards. He just simply went through them, and when he got the time machine, he already had it running before he even got into it. So it essentially already took him back to where he needed. He went to go find Myria, who has no idea who he is at the time. He explained everything to her, believing that she would not want him. She felt bad for everything he'd been through, but she warned him that if he turned himself in, the judgment would be death. He asked her why. That is not how Martian justice works. She told him that they believed him to be a powerful being that could not be stopped by simply giving him the usual treatment. He knew what he had to do. He had to turn himself in. He thought he could convince them alone. He was mistaken. When he turned up to the station and started explaining himself, the first words spoken to him were, "That's impressive, what you did. That you could defeat so many so easily." They drew their weapons and were about to fire, but Myria told them otherwise. She was the one that they trusted. So when she explained why he did it, and pretty much everything else, they understood that he was to be trusted, that he really was surrendering. They tried to wipe his memory and give him a useful role in society. But eventually, somewhere down the line, some of his memories did come back. And eventually, he did get together with Myria. And one day, distant future, he was near death. He turned his head to see the spirit of a being that he did not know. She introduced herself as the one who was never born because of his actions, and that she was grateful to what he'd done. After hearing that, his time had come. That was just the end of his life. But he died happy, knowing that there were people who appreciated what he'd done.